Radiohead is one of my favourite artists. They're the one that got me into sound design in the first place. And today we're going to be breaking down 5 of their sounds, 2 basses, 2 leads. But first, let's start with Everything in Its Right Place. Start off a pulse wave and use the slider to adjust the width. That sounds a bit too harsh. We need a much more mellow tone, so we're going to add envelope 2 to the filter. To add some analog pitch drift, add random 1 to the pitch, and I've set this to -20 cents because the original has a slightly detuned sound. But you don't have to do this, because if you do, you have to make sure every track in your session is tuned down -20 cents, so it's all in tune. To make the synth wider, we're going to pan this to the left, and we're going to bring an oscillator 2, which is doing the exact same thing, and that's going to be panned to the right. If you want, you can adjust the width at the bottom, but I'm going to leave it very wide. Then we're going to add some effects. EQ, this is going to be removing some extreme lows that we don't need. If you want a warmer sound, you can add a low boost using this slider, but I'm going to leave it without. Then we're going to add some compression to make the notes a bit more clicky. And some saturation to warm up our sound. Finally, I heard a little bit of noise on the original, so I'm going to be using brown noise. I feel like this sounds the best for layering on synth sounds in Vital, and just turn it down very subtly so you add a bit of a texture to your synth sound. And to finalize the sound, it's all about tweaking the filter. The original uses a Prophet 5, which is a nice analog synth that a lot of artists used back in the day, and people still use it today. I found that trying to get to the exact same tone in Vital, you're not really going to get the exact same sound of that filter. But one thing I did hear that made it sound a bit closer is that I turned down the keyboard tracking a little bit, and this makes the high notes less emphasized and you get a closer sound to the original. But play around with this and see what you like the best. Remember, we're making music, which is art. Even if we don't get the exact same tone as the original song, we can still use it in our music and put our own twist on it to make it sound really cool. Our next request is Mitosis, and I'm not sure if you wanted the bass sound or the lead, so let's create both. The bass sound's really simple, it's just a saw wave, but I added a filter to make the sound a bit more meaty, because the dirty filter adds a bit of drive and saturation to our sound. Now we're going to make the lead sound that comes in later on in the song, and this is what I think he was actually asking for. It's a bit more of a complicated sound. Start with a saw, and we're making it fade in and fade out, so when you press the next key, it kind of blurs the notes together and it's not an abrupt change. We're using a dirty filter again. This is one of the most popular filters you're going to see for Radiohead type sounds. Then we're going to add some movement to the pitch. And this is what creates our trembling vibrato effect. Next, to adjust the tone and make it sound closer to the original, we're going to add a higher octave with a sine wave. This is enhancing the first harmonic. And then we're going to turn down some of the fundamental by selecting high pass. If you download all of the presets from today, sign up to my Patreon. Our next sound is the bass from All I Need, and for this they used an electric piano and they distorted it. So we start with an electric piano. And I've tweaked all of these settings to get as close to the original that I can. Then I'm using a fuzz pedal called the Big Stuff, which is an emulation of the Big Muff pedal, and this is a free plugin, so you can check it out. Then with distorted sounds, you often add EQs to shape the tone that you want to be getting. So I added the EQ to boost the lows and cut the mids. And then I added another distortion plugin, which is Raw, which is a stock plugin in Ableton 12, and this makes the synth sound a bit more aggressive. Next, let's make the lead from Nude. Start with a sine wave, add a high octave, and I've added a filter just to remove some highs a bit, make it sound a bit more mellow, but if you want, you can just adjust the levels of the oscillators to create the same effect. Then we're going to add some movement to the volume by dragging LFO1 to the volume at the top. And we're also going to add some movement to the pitch. Then to give the sound some space, we're going to add a reverb. Now let's make the lead sound from Lift. This is another simple sound. We start with a saw wave and add a filter. And then we add some movement to the pitch using LFO1. If you have a question or suggestion for a future video, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.